The one element that made Kelsey Grammer's character in Cheers and its original spin-off work is removed in the Frasier reboot. Frasier Crane was planned to be a late addition to Cheers, not a series regular. He was originally intended to make an appearance in the popular sitcom for a few episodes as a counterpoint to Sam and Diane's relationship. On paper, Frasier doesn't seem like a very likable person. He has an air of elitism and pretentiousness about him. It's interesting to note that the first season of Frasier relied heavily on this, turning it up even as he took center stage. But for some reason, the character continued to function. In the Paramount Plus remake of Frasier, Frasier came back to Boston with a brand new goal: to get in touch with his son, Freddie, and accomplish something significant in his professional life. Frasier is more prosperous than ever thanks to his hosting position in Chicago. Although he has plenty of years left to live in retirement, he chooses to work as an educator at Harvard, where he interacts with both well-known and unfamiliar people. The people around Frasier have always been part of what makes him appealing. Although the new cast does a fantastic job in their roles, there is one important element that they are missing that hurts the film's star. The third episode of the Frasier Reboot, First Class, finally explores Frasier's new position at the elite university. Sadly, despite his years of expertise speaking in front of groups, he finds it difficult when he realizes that his students merely enrolled in his class under the impression that he would be giving them advice. This discourages him since he wants to get away from the perception that Dr. Crane's recent years have given him. He receives a reality check from Alan Cornwall, which somehow lifts his spirits. While doing so, Olivia goes above and beyond, even disclosing how watching Frasier's TV show personally aided her. It is a touching tale. Sadly, that is not the case. In order to benefit herself, Olivia has been deceiving or blindsiding Frasier throughout episode 3. It's not a good idea to feed Frasier's ego in order to allay his worries. No one in his Cheers family or the real Frasier lied to him about something this crucial. Instead, like Alan, they always put things into perspective, which helped Frasier deal with his personal issues. In addition to not looking well, it appears that Olivia is currently taking advantage of Frasier, which is bad for the character's development in the reboot. He has more money to spend over the course of his lifetime, as was established in Frasier's First Class. Frasier could have pampered himself despite his extravagant spending and penchant for expensive items without ever having to go to work again. But he doesn't want to be a loser. After harboring Dr. Crane for so many years after its basic idea had been outgrown, he wanted to accomplish something good. In addition to having one more excuse to stay in Boston, Frasier accepts the job at Harvard with the hope of helping to shape the next generation of thinkers. That isn't what happens when he must resort to simple techniques. Frasier teaches college students at Harvard rather than young children. His job is to teach, and he can't do that well if part of his lesson plan involves keeping students entertained. They ought to be married by now. It doesn't advance Frasier's character journey to make him act out scenes from his previous TV show in his current one. It goes against his realization that he truly wants to pursue work that is gratifying and significant. In the Frasier Reboot, Olivia's manipulation of him into doing something he doesn't want to do is a disservice to the character. Since Cheers was a workplace program, the original Frasier was essentially set apart from it as a family comedy. The meticulously designed interaction between Frasier and Freddie suggests that the Paramount Plus reboot's creators are aware of this. The show's elements are enhanced by Martin's passing and the fact that David is Niles' son. However, the Seattle-based show also created a fantastic office section when Roz, Bulldog, and Gil, Frasier's KACL co-workers, were introduced. Given this, it is anticipated that his time at Harvard will be reflected in the relaunch. On paper, Frasier's time at Harvard makes sense, but the execution is flawed. Beyond how it affects her character, Olivia's attempt to trick Frasier into staying doesn't seem to serve any purpose. There isn't nearly enough interaction between Frasier and Alan to create the same dynamic as he had with Roz or Niles in the first season of the show. If Paramount Plus ever decides to continue the revival, it's challenging to envision the Frasier remake carrying this gag past season 1. The thing I like most about Frasier is how willing he really is to assist people. The original series frequently emphasized his unwavering optimism and desire to see the best in others, notably in contrast to Martin's propensity for pessimism. He is so successful as a radiotherapist because of this. Frasier's desire to help has no bounds, despite his elitism and snobbery. The character hasn't been able to genuinely assist anyone in the Frasier Reboot because this particular element is lacking. Although he appears to be disillusioned to offer counsel after being in Dr. Crane, the pageantry of the show is what he actually doesn't want to return to. It's obvious that Frasier enjoys dispensing useful guidance. He would frequently give counsel even in Cheers. Being a full-time instructor at Harvard prevents him from being able to do this, so the reboot needs to change the focus from his new profession to something that will bring this element back. Frasier may work as a guidance counselor, where he could assist both students and his fellow staff members if Paramount Plus wishes to keep the Ivy League feel of the program. If not, he can launch a podcast, which is a logical progression from his KACL show. Whatever the case, the Harvard plot for the Frasier reboot needs to be changed since it isn't working.